This is a podcast by the News Minute, and you are listening to South Central.
Hello and welcome to South Central, a TNM podcast where we put the South at the center. For those who listen to the podcast, you must know by now that I have throat problems today and I will not be talking too much. So the person hosting this show primarily is Pooja, Prasanna, the reporting head of the News Minute.
For those who are wondering why I'm laughing, I'm not being cruel. She doesn't have pain. She doesn't have any infection. Just her voice is gone. So I'm well within my rights to make full fun of Dhanya today.
Sure.
Because she's made enough fun of me in life.
So before we go to the headlines, just a quick reminder, South Central drops every Friday and we take you through the headlines of South India and we also discuss two topics every week. This week, do read the story by Basant, our colleague in News Laundry, where he went through MOUs signed by the Uttar Pradesh government. The government has been claiming that it signed MOUs worth lakhs and lakhs of crores. But Basant's investigation showed that, for example, one MOU signed with the company which is almost going to shut down, another with the company which could not be traced. So how most of these MOUs are scams, that's the mildest word to use. Do read that and do watch Pooja's Let Me Explain on Justice S. Muralidhar, the Indian judge who the Indian government did not appreciate but is now with the UN and has submitted the report on Israel's genocide in Gaza.
And just a quick reminder, in case you still need more convincing about our dedication to make sure that we bring you South Central every week, here's a person who was till before the show miming and showing things through actions, but made sure that she turns up for the show. So this week, you have to contribute to keep South Central going. Here's the QR code where Dhanya's face was. Scan the QR code and contribute to South Central.
And I'll buy cough syrup.
Yes, yeah, that I'll give you for free. Let's get on to the headlines. Let's start with Kerala. Free bus travel prompts private operators to take a call on strike on July 6th. A detailed meeting of bus operators, auto taxi operators and tourist bus operators will meet on July 6th to take a call on a statewide motor strike. All this because women can now travel for free in some buses in the state. Adani to sell 49% in Virinum port to international company, Kerala government that is, says that they've not been informed. The port is being developed under a public-private partnership, that's the PPP model, between the Kerala government and Adani Virinum Port Private Limited.
So they're going to sell 49% of their stake to the Switzerland-based company called Mediterranean Shipping Company. Now, Kerala government is a part of the project. They're saying we have not been informed. I mean, I think it's a very important question, right? What were the conditions in which the project came up? If one party were to sell stakes, shouldn't the other party have been kept informed? Let's see what the Kerala government does now.
Moving on to Karnataka, this is a ground report. Biddi farmers resist AI city land acquisition after years under red zone. For nearly 2 decades, farmers in Biddi lived under a red zone imposed for a township that never materialized. Now the Karnataka government has started acquiring land for its ambitious AI-powered city. And this has deepened fears over livelihood, compensation and consent. Of course, our colleague Shivani had visited Biddi. There is a lovely video that I'd urge you to watch about what the farmers feel. This has also become quite political because Union Minister and former Karnataka Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy has now been supporting the farmers in Biddi. But what struck me is how these words are thrown around. What is going to come up in the AI city, nobody seems to know. Bengaluru creche abused toddlers locked in washing machine and bathrooms. Toddlers were subjected to physical and mental abuse, including making them sit inside a front-loading washing machine, locking them inside bathrooms, and spraying water into their mouths using toilet jet spray.
So I was actually wondering whether creches come under any of the rules. I've asked somebody to check it. I remember a few years ago, one of the activists telling me that who works with children, that creches are just popping up everywhere. And even during summer holidays, the summer camps, what are the rules? So I wonder under whose jurisdiction do these creches come?
But I am a little worried that people might use this excuse to again penalize women, saying that this is why we say that you should take care of the child.
No, also this creche is run by Cap Gemini, right? My point is that most of these companies have these facilities just as a checkbox. You have a creche? Check. You have something else? Check. What is the kind of facility? Who are you employing? These are things that you must pay attention to, right?
Yeah. Major footpath clearance drive in Bengaluru. Many citizens relieved. Vendors bear the brunt. We visited areas like JC Nagar, Chikpete, Jainagara, Vijayanagar and Baswangudi to understand where the footpath clearance drive meant for vendors are directly affected. Today, in fact, when I was on my way to office, in at least 3 areas like Baswangudi, Jainagara, I saw huge bulldozers and like police machinery. I saw at least like 40-50 policemen in that stretch.
No, there is a problem. Footpaths are occupied by a lot of things, including random steps, somebody parking their vehicles, and vendors too. But when it comes to vendors, the government must have some alternate plan before they just go on an eviction drive.
Let's move on to Tamil Nadu. TVK government draws flag after extended Kanyakumari mining land reservation. The project proposes mining beach sand minerals, including, and I'm going to read only some because I can't pronounce all of them, including ilmenite, zircon, monazite, garnet. Those are the ones I can pronounce. And several of which have been classified as atomic minerals. TVK had earlier taken a public stand against mining. So this is going to come back to bite them. There has been some discrepancy in them allowing in some places and not allowing in some other places. So be careful what you promise before elections. AIDMK Exodus ex-ministers M R Vijayabhaskar and C Vijayabhaskar join Chief Minister Vijay's TVK. By the time this airs, they would have joined.
So it's like a new washing machine because Vijayabhaskar is the Gutka Vijayabhaskar.
Correct.
The second Vijayabhaskar. He's the guy who's accused in the Gutka scam. But now he will join the TVK. And I like what Kanimuri tweeted. She said, even Gutka stains will be washed off.
But this is the martyrdom that everybody voted for. Both TVK and DMK are accusing each other of poaching now. And this is, we're just going to continue with the same story, was offered bribe of 35 crore rupees. TVK MLA alleges political horse trading. 3 people have been arrested. V. Senthil Balaji has been named. DMK accuses Vijay of trying to poach MLAs and has sought DVAC investigation. So yeah, a lot of developments. People are poaching from all sides. That is the accusation. Let's move on to Andhra. Andhra police arrest YouTubers Ravan and KVR, that's KV Reddy, over content against Naidu and Pawan Kalyan. Meanwhile, Telangana police have registered a criminal case against an Andhra Pradesh police circle inspector following allegations that he misbehaved with the wife of KV Reddy.
So after this, Pawan Kalyan has also announced that his party, the Janasena, is going to have a wing which will only file complaints on stuff on social media. So I was thinking we should send the Let Me Explain on Pawan Kalyan to him as an experiment to see how many complaints they will register.
I think we should add that Dhanya wrote the script or something like that.
That's one
thing. So you also go to jail with it.
The second thing is that while yes, some of the things that these commentators are saying is questionable, Andhra Pradesh government has to really rethink whether they want to take this route where they're going to book people left, right and center, because we saw what happened with Professor Nageshwar also. But it seems like they are going to file more cases. And I saw this very interesting video by Tulsi Chandu, where Tulsi says that one problem is that most of these people are talking like Ravan, not the Reddy guy. Ravan was talking back in the same language as Pawan Kalyan was. And it's no aggressiveness encourages aggressiveness. Yeah. That's the point she was making.
Yeah. Let's move on to Telangana. Chief Minister Revanth Reddy urges Bharti Enterprises to set up data center at Chandanvalli. Sunil Mittal said that the company was considering Hyderabad as its second headquarters and assured the Chief Minister that Airtel would enhance its data center capacity in Telangana and strengthen fiber connectivity across the state. Appreciate the strengthening fiber connectivity part, but enhancing data center capacity means more burden on the state in terms of asking for more resources like water and electricity, things that Telangana, which is a landlocked state, cannot afford. Consider issuing Urdu forms. Telangana High Court to Election Commission on SIR. The High Court asks ECI to consider issuing Urdu forms for the SIR of electoral rolls in select constituencies in the state where 20% or more of the population speak in Urdu. That's it for the headlines for this week.
So one blog or write-up, or I'm not sure what to call it, that has been discussed a lot in India in the last week was written by the former editor of Telegraph, R Rajagopal, journalist. He wrote about how his name was removed from the electoral rolls in West Bengal, and the problem did not stop there. Because his name was removed from the rolls, his passport was not renewed because the police clearance did not come through. The police said that name has been removed from the electoral rolls, therefore no passport. So journalist R Rajagopal actually wrote a note. This note was written to the jury of an award. He was invited to be part of the jury. So he said he cannot be part of the jury because he is going through a lot of these personal problems and he has to deal with them. But it became public and there's been a lot of discussion. The Editors Guild of India has come saying that what is happening is just emblematic of the larger problem. Joining us to discuss about what happened to him and what it means in a larger sense is R Rajagopal. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on South Central.
Thank you.
And in the studio with us, making reappearance in South Central is Mr. Shivasundar, activist and someone who's very actively involved with checking the government on how the SIR process is going, right?
Great to be with Rajagopal sir also, after all this, in solidarity.
In solidarity. My first question to you is that you have been a voter in West Bengal since 2010. And they've suddenly removed you, saying that your name or your father's name could not be traced back to 2002. Now, all those who are unaware how the SIR process works is that the last SIR done, which is 2002, is when your name should have been there, or your father's, or your
Fathers, mothers, or grandparents?
Yeah, not any other family member. And if it is not traceable, then you have to go through a lot of loops. But tell me something, sir. Nobody else from your family was removed. It was just you.
Yeah, that's because I could not find my own name in 2002, which I don't suspect anything, because I see at that time my wife and we were settling down. We were actually being transferred Bombay, Delhi, other place. Then finally Calcutta. So we decided. So we were here. So it's quite possible that we may not have enrolled in 2002. But my father's, it was very surprising. So and the thing is, the only 7 people, any of them, like yourself, your 2 biological parents or your 4 biological grandparents. So out of 7, in my case, I am there, that my father, but others all had died before this 2002 this thing. So obviously only my father was alive, but now he's no more. He died in 2016. But my wife's case, her mother was there, so she is safe. And because her mother was there, my son is also safe, because his grandparents, that way. My daughter is in the US. She did not apply. She did not fill up the form. So obviously her name also deleted. But so far there is no trouble because of that, because her passport has been renewed last year. So I think in the next time when she goes to renewal, maybe. But she won't have any problem, because her grandparent is there, her grandmother is there, her name is there in the 2000. The problem was with me, so that's why. My brother could enroll himself because his name was there. He lives in Secunderabad, so his name was there in the Secunderabad. So that way we didn't have, others didn't have any problem. It was only me. But the problem is, see, this is the first round. This round is not the end of it. Then you're put on something called under adjudication. So there was no the cause for concern. There should not be any cause for concern at all that if your name cannot be found in 2000. Because 2002, it's quite possible. Maybe you were working abroad, then you did not, enroll. So this is a normal thing. So I was not alarmed at all when I realized that I could not be mapped. So once you put in under adjudication, the Election Commission of India said prescribe 11 documents. Actually, it is 12 because Aadhaar is also, but Aadhaar, they have managed to create some kind of there is a haze around Aadhaar, although the Supreme Court said that you may consider. So since they use the word may and consider and all that, Election Commission officials say, okay, we considered, but you are not accepting it. They are that blasé about the whole thing, So then there are other 11 documents, out of which I was born in 1968. So actually, birth certificate and death certificate were made compulsory in India only from 1970, April 1st. I was born 2 years before that. So for people like us, the matriculation certificate is actually considered as if you are educated, then matriculation certificate is considered as a certificate. So I gave my matriculation certificate, and even after that, on March 27th, when the list came out, all I know is that it's written there very clearly that excluded from the list. The thing is, then no reason has been conveyed to me till now, but on the basis of news reports which said that something called the logical discrepancy, their yardstick was aggressively used in West Bengal. And logical discrepancy means if there is a spelling mismatch, like in my matriculation certificate, there must have been some spelling mismatch. We cannot call it mistake because the Indian names, there are no standardized English spellings. Any name can be spelled in any number of, and of late people add one letter here and there. And often people also take down. Officials you say, and on the basis of pronunciation, names are written. So it's quite possible my class 10 certificate may have some mismatch with the document when I got enrolled in 2010, that document, there may be some mismatch. What mismatch is there, I don't know yet. So then the next step is I filed an appeal against it. The appeal is pending, where actually in Bengal, almost 32 lakh appeals are pending, similar appeals. And 19 tribunals are looking at it. 2 judges have already, each tribunal is headed by a judge. 2 judges have already resigned. And today at Times of India, there's a report saying another 2 judges have been appointed at with the new Bengal government has appointed several commissions of inquiries. 2 of them have been asked to take over or requested to take over 2 commissions. So the number is steadily coming down. So according to Times of India report, according to the current pace, it will take 25 years to clear this appeals. 25 years means 5 elections at least. Already 1 election I've missed. And the Supreme Court said that you can miss this election, but you can vote in the next election. But at this pace, it doesn't look so, unless they do some drastic scale up the operation. Plus, it's completely opaque. I don't know whether I will be called or some people are being called. Some people. So another problem is because I cannot travel anywhere. Because what if I go somewhere and they suddenly call me, and then you have to rush back from there. You to have tickets and all those things. And if you don't reach on time, if you miss a chance, then I don't know next chance when it will come. So it's like a lottery ticket. You're taking a lottery ticket. You're waiting for a demo in a democracy. For a chance to vote, you have to wait like a lottery ticket subscriber. It's unheard of. I have never heard anything about it anywhere in the world. I've heard of people being disenfranchised. I'm technically disenfranchised now, but to get back, it's like you take a Euro lottery and something and wait for it when it doesn't make any sense,
So I want to make 2 points. One is that all the reporting about SIR and people being excluded, whether it's Bihar or West Bengal, there's been this notion that it's largely poor people, rural people and Muslims, right? Though reporting has consistently showed that it is not just the Muslims. Yes, more numbers, they are being impacted, but Hindus also are being removed, other people also being removed. I think Rajagopal sir's case shows something more. That first thing, what are the loops that you have to jump through? And he explained it correctly, that there's something called adjudication. Then the second list comes in which again your name is not there. Then you're appealing and you go to tribunal. So many loops he has to go through to make sure that his name is added back into the voting list. And the next danger, in fact, when I first read his write-up, I was thinking, how many more people are having problems with other documents like their passport because their vote has been taken away from them. In your case, the police clearance now clearly says that your name is removed from the electoral rolls, right? After you wrote it, did other people write to you or contact you saying that they are facing similar problems, that their passport renewal is also under stress now?
No one has contacted me. But there are several people, especially from Delhi, asking me advice. Because Delhi, it's right now it's on. No? The SIR process is on, I suppose. So there are people. But before this, my thing made public. I was asked. My biggest problem was I repeatedly requested the police when they told me that your name will not be. We will not clear your name unless you're restored. So I repeatedly asked the police, can you show me any government order or memo or because on the basis of which you are saying this? Because as far as I know, the EC has been repeatedly assuring the Supreme Court that SIR data will be used for the specific purpose of cleaning up the electoral list. And the Supreme Court also very specifically said, in case you come across any citizenship issues, any suspicion like that, those names you should send to the Union Home Ministry, and only the Home Ministry can take a decision on how to proceed. But here, a city police forces are telling me that unless they're directly linking their SIR data with the voters with the passport. So when I asked for on what basis, but they wouldn't. Obviously, they started stonewalling and said this is the rule here. So I was asking several lawyers across India who I knew. So nobody could find. But one lawyer, to come to a question, one lawyer in Calcutta told me at least 3 people have approached her. And I haven't spoken to them, so this is all here. This is second-hand information. Out of which one case was quite bizarre, because she told me the passport applicant's renewal applicant's name is in SIR, but the police is citing his father's deletion, which is quite very strange. His father's name has been deleted, so the police apparently, I don't know whether it's true or not. So I heard about this. And another very valid, you rightly said about the thing about poor people, because I approach at least one editor in Calcutta, and I'm sure some of my friends approach at least two bureau chiefs in Delhi. I don't because since I haven't directly this thing, I wouldn't name. Their reaction also suggested what you said, Dhanya, because I think everybody thinks it's a poor and the marginalized that is affected. I'm sorry to say, most journalists I spoke to had absolutely no idea what the SIR is, because then I realized they're not affected. Especially in a place like Calcutta where 90 lakh people have been removed. This 27 is only those who appeal. 90 lakh people have been removed, out of which 27 lakh, that's 2.7 million people, plus now it is 32 lakh. There are two numbers, 27 and 32. Some people say that discrepancy is because the additional people are those who have challenged the inclusion of some people, That also is happening. Before the tribunal, you cannot you can also challenge the inclusion of other people. So that also may be happening. So in spite of, because I don't think after demonetization there's been something that affected so many people at the same day, because this must be the single largest exercise. But still, most editors I spoke to, one editor I spoke to, most journalists I spoke to, they didn't seem to be aware of the different stages. So everybody thinks that the person who has been deleted, either they don't have any documents or they are all infiltrators, immediately you are cast as so even though I have at one glance, it didn't look that I don't have anything to be worried, because I was an editor once. I was born in Kerala. I don't think anybody will say that I infiltrated from Bangladesh, because the way my accent is with my biggest certificate now, that I was born in South India. This cannot be mimicked by an infiltrator. So maybe nothing, I don't know. But the thing is that I also, the moment I was deleted, I also started feeling like a half citizen, and started feeling that there must be some inadequacy in me. And I suddenly became quiet also. I used to be a very argumentative fellow, very garrulous, and instead of picking fights with everybody about things, then suddenly I lost all that thing. I lost all confidence. I thought that I don't have the right. When in my friends group, I will usually go quiet now, because I think that somehow I am lesser than them. I don't have the right to speak like that. They can criticize the government here. Maybe I should not, because it's only when it happens to you understand. But none of these things the journalists are aware of it. That is also the reason why, although some editors knew about it, they did not think that it is worth reporting. And obviously, I cannot go around saying that yes, this is a very big story. I am affected. I did not approach anybody. That is true. But how can anybody demean yourself? It's a newspaper's job to, if the newspaper thinks that something like this happened, okay, they should not cover me. Then they should have checked whether more people are affected, or at least whether such a policy exists or not. And they could have either way. Okay, if your name is cut from SIR, then you can get your passport renewed. That itself is a story, because it affects everyone. And out of this 27.4 lakh, at some point in the next 10 years, almost everybody must be having a passport. Who doesn't have passports in India now? So all this question will keep coming up now for all of them. And so until today, unfortunately, they are trying to solve the problem by it looks like they have initiated the process to issue the passport, but I haven't got it yet. And after that, it will be forgotten. But the thing is that what we need is policy clarity. Neither is MEA could have issued just a two-lane saying either way. Okay, this will not be given if your name is cut from SIR. This will be given. But why are they not giving it? Bengal government also has not issued a clarification. So why are they not issuing a clarification in spite of so much of discussion? It's not about one person. So when they don't issue a policy clarification, then it always leave enough fertile ground for speculation, corruption, a lot of other things also, and misuse. So that is exactly what is happening here. That the silence makes it very, very suspicious.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we were in Hyderabad and we were speaking to people in old Hyderabad. And this is the exact thing that came up on camera. Many people said that we are worried that they'll come after our passports if our name is not in the voter rolls. Now, this policy confusion that you're talking about, do you think that is deliberate? Because in a country like India, where voting is not mandatory, so you're then linking that, saying that if your name is not there in the voter list, you will not get benefits, you will not get welfare schemes, and even your passport renewal can be impacted.
And it's all ad hoc, right?
It's
It
all
is just
ad hoc.
randomly some government deciding, some policeman deciding.
Exactly.
Nothing is
Yes,
written.
exactly.
But in your case, I want to also ask you, you think it is a byproduct of the policy confusion or because of your profile of who you were, and this becomes even more important after a certain BJP or a right-leaning person tweeted some of the headlines
Kanchan
of
Gupta.
of the newspaper that you were editing. Do you think that is also a factor?
Yeah, see, until this tweet, because he is also associated with the government, I think, in the form of advisor also. So until that tweet came, even if I suspected, see, we should not speak without an evidence. So I was not very convinced about it. But now, obviously, I do suspect this thing. But more important is what you said about the policy confusion. See, this was an ideal opportunity for the government. If it was so far, they were not aware of it. Now everybody is aware such a confusion exists. So today is the fourth or fifth day since this discussion started. The silence suggests that obviously it looks like it is deliberate. Otherwise, it just take them 5 minutes. Actually, they don't need to. There's no need for an executive. Just a PIB press release will do. You don't need anything else. But they have not saying that. So obviously that leaves you with a lot of questions. If the executive is not executing its role, then what can a citizen do? We are completely helpless, actually. And then one BJP leader said on television, I was in a Malayalam television channel, that not BJP leader, sorry, one right-wing commentator said that why is he speaking to the media about me? He should have gone to the court. See, it's very easy to say all these things, but it's not easy for an individual to approach a court. You have to hire a lawyer. And this here, there is also another trap. See, till today, the passport authority has not rejected my application. It's kept pending because of the lack of police verification. So what it means, the process is on. And we all know that if you approach a court when the process is on, I think the court is right also. Court can say that, see, the process is on, let it be complete, and if you have a grievance, then you approach us. So today is, I think, the 104th day since my biometrics were done. And still they can make it pending. Or I can approach court if there's an emergency, like a health emergency or something, I need to travel abroad, then I can approach. But I don't have any such emergency. So what do you do? What does a citizen do? And going to court is not an easy thing. Filing a writ petition in High Court, it involves expenses, it involves a lot of research, a lot of legwork, a lot of other things. For somebody to say that to get your passport, why should I go to court? When it is my right to get it, unless I am a criminal or something like that.
I mean, this may sound a bit cruel, but in one way, I think it's also good that all this happened to you, that your name was struck off the electoral rolls and your police clearance did not come through. Because I feel, as someone who's been covering SIR for many, many months now, that there is renewed attention from a population that was seemingly very not bothered about SIR itself, because they kept thinking that it's not a middle class problem, that it's not an upper class problem, that it is just about some people who could be from Bangladesh or Nepal who are facing these issues. But you have been editor of a leading newspaper for many years. This has happened to you and it's cast everything in a very different light. It's put that question in people's mind that, oh, what if this happens to me? In fact, when you wrote that one line, you said, you're in a position of civic uncertainty now, really struck me. And then I was thinking about my own SIR process, because it has started in Karnataka now. And I'm thinking, where did I vote in 2002? I don't think I voted anywhere, because I was a student who was transiting between Delhi and Chennai at that time and Madras at that time. So I don't even know if I have a vote in 2002. Thankfully, my father diligently votes. Therefore, maybe there's not a problem. But in one way, sir, there's a whole discussion about this. It's also disappointing that a lot of mainstream media is still not picking up on this, despite someone of your stature facing this problem, because they do not want to. And the question, Shivasundar sir, that you sent on your broadcast group today morning, that after so many weeks, the government of India, the Election Commission of India, my sound is better, which claimed,
You're talking to me.
yes, maybe. No, my question to you, sir, is that you were saying today that the Election Commission of India, which kept giving this excuse that it is to weed out, what is it, people,
Illegal immigrants.
illegal immigrants,
Exactly.
illegal people, has not given any number till now. It is just an excuse that they've used. And the people who are really bearing the brunt are all those lakhs of people in Bengal and other places. And we do not know what is going to happen in Karnataka, Telangana, etc.
Perhaps the reason is maybe you can go back to the first one, the Bihar SIR, and the number that they came up with, which is so negligible, which is probably why it's opaque. Yeah.
See, even their election commission did not came up with any number. It is only the independent journalist who actually went on searching the form number 7, which is actually objections. How many form number 7 was filed, naming them as foreign nationals? That was a kind of search. Election commission till today has not come out with any number of suspected foreign nationals. It so happens, as I told in my broadcast message, except West Bengal, in all other 12 states, they have only 4 categories: absent, shifted, dead, and duplicate. They don't have a separate category of suspected foreign nationals. Only in West Bengal, they have used the term others. And now in the 16 states, where the third phase is going on, now you don't have only ASDD. You have ASDDO. O is for others. And especially during the Supreme Court course, there they said, how are you going to file your suspected foreign nationals? They said that we have a category of others. First time they admitted. They did not have a category of others in other 12 states. How are they going to cull out the number of suspected foreign nationals? Why? Because Supreme Court on May 27 judgment has clearly said within 4 weeks of the completion of SIR, they have to provide the list of the suspected foreign nationals to the competent authority in the Home Ministry. We don't know which is the competent authority. Now it is 6th week. So whether they have filed the list, this is so important and vital to national security. Why BJP is silent? Why Narendra Modi is silent? Why they are after Rajagopalji instead of foreign nationals? If that was true, BJP would have come on, they have pounced on the media and would have said that, see, that's why SIR is needed, etc. No, they are not doing that because it is impossible for the other 12 states to come out with a number today. And this should be actually mentioned, even after the, as you said, in Bihar SIR. After Bihar SIR, when Ganesh Kumar held a press conference, Paranjay Guha Thakurta and many people pointedly asked the question repeatedly. How many foreign nationals? How many foreign nationals? And he repeatedly said, next question, next question. He didn't answer that. So they don't have a figure.
So foreign nationals, or Ghuspetiyas as they're being called, is limited only to speech. But if I could also just get you in on, because you're noticing it very closely in Karnataka, which is governed by an opposition party. What can non-BJP parties do if they want to? Because what happened in West Bengal did not happen in Tamil Nadu.
Or Kerala.
Or Kerala. Reasons could be political, I'm not denying. But what can they do to make life easier for
the
voters?
The difference is structural. See, except in West Bengal, they did not use this new category called logical discrepancy anywhere, even in the second phase. Only in West Bengal, they used the category called logical discrepancy. It was only 4 logical discrepancies: having more than 6 children, age difference between the parents and the children, etc. Now it is 11 categories, including, it says that if a woman has mentioned her father as the relative in 2002, and after the marriage, she mentions her husband as the relative. That is another logical discrepancy. That means all married women will get the notice. That is the new category that is added today. Why they could not do in Kerala or Tamil Nadu? Because logical discrepancy was not used as a category there. If Karnataka government was bold enough to say that you should not use logical discrepancy because it's discrimination, because it didn't use in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, you should not use in Karnataka. At least on that basis, they should have gone to High Court. But D.K. Shivakumar, day in and day out, he says that if you don't have your name in the voter list, you will lose all the benefits, etc. And they are not taking on this whole politically also, The very first actually response from Siddaramaiah when he was the chief minister was they don't want to make it political. Later on, because of the civil society pressure and all, they went on addressing that at least they sensitized the BLAs of their party and they are actually reaching out to the vote electorate. But what could a state government do to avoid this? Because exclusion is structural. Of course, it is also arbitrary, as we have seen in the Rajagopalji's case. The arbitrariness is also inbuilt into the process. Arbitrariness is legitimized by the Supreme Court. For example, what did the Supreme Court say in May 27 judgment? It has said that the Election Commission has all the powers to devise its own strategies. Not only till now, even then, even afterwards. That's why they are using new design now. Earlier it was 4. Now, why it is 11? Is it not a discrimination? It is under the same law. It is under the same procedure. We are discriminated, where the other 13 states are not discriminated. Equality before law, equal protection before law, 14th and Article 14 and 15 violation is there. Why nobody is addressing? Supreme Court itself has given a sanction to that. And about even Aadhaar, what did they finally said when Justice Bagchi, when he was sitting on the, just before the Suryakant became the Chief Justice, he said that I myself do not have all the 11 documents. Why don't you actually accept Aadhaar? And on September 9th judgment also, they asked the Bihar government to accept Aadhaar. They did not made it mandatory. Now in the May 27 judgment, the Supreme Court says the Election Commission has all the powers to suspect the even Aadhaar, and if they feel that Aadhaar is not sufficient, they are in their powers to command other documents apart from Aadhaar. So now it is legitimized. Aadhaar is not the 12th document. Of course, it was made a 12th document with riders. That rider is not at all now required for them to negate it. So it is structural, and the power of the state governments to intervene and make it more democratic is not at all there. Because Article 324 makes it, gives whole power to Central Election Commission to devise any strategies, preparing the voter list for the State Assembly elections and the Lok Sabha elections is the prerogative of the Election Commission. State Election Commission is only for the local body elections. And Supreme Court on May 27 judgment had made it some more clear. It said that after the SIR process is over, and if you identify the suspected foreign nationals, you have to send it to competent authority, and the competent authority should finalize the citizenship question within the 4 weeks. 4 weeks they have to send it to the competent authority, and competent authority should finalize it before the immediate election, whether it is Lok Sabha, State Assembly or the local body elections. Now, local body electoral list is mandatory to have this SIR. So the SCC power is completely removed.
I have a doubt. This logical discrepancy, Anbukumar had a press conference, the CEO of Karnataka recently, in which he said that he may add a few categories. Are individual CEOs adding logical discrepancy, or is the ECI is doing it now?
That's what I'm telling you. It's inbuilt arbitrariness. For example, in West Bengal, there were only 4. Haryana CEO says that he will have 6. Telangana CEO says that he will have 11. And this CEO, Anbukumar, says that already he has listed 6. And after the enumeration forms are filed, he says that there will be more.
Yeah, he's saying August 5th. So those in Karnataka, one of the categories of discrepancies is less than a 9-month gap between siblings. So what if somebody had a delivery, a 7-month or 8-month delivery? That is not added. I mean, of course, you can't get pregnant immediately,
Yes.
but yeah. Okay, that is one category. Different parent names between the current role and the previous SIR. Mapping with a different relative type between the current role and the previous SIR is what we're talking about. This is like disaster recipe completely.
The problem is a little more. Why? Because it says that the age difference between your parent and yourself should be less than 15 and more than 40. More than 15 and less than 40. And in Chamarajanagar, I was there day before yesterday. There is a caste group called Uppars.
That's grandparent.
No,
40 years is grandparent.
More than 40 years is of father and mother. Grandparent, see, you should have a minimum age gap of more than 15 and less than 40. Which means that is the fertility range. That is the, logic that the AI works
But
upon.
it doesn't have to work for the father.
It need not. But your mother also. Say, for example, it is... That's why Amartya Sen got that notice, no?
But you have been moving from district to district. Are you seeing people having difficulties in filing even in Karnataka?
It is third day. second day actually. So yesterday only there was a lot of problems as we were discussing in the beginning. Middle class is shocked. They didn't think that it would come to their doorstep. Now they are not finding their voter list in the 2002. There are a lot of spelling mistakes, and for fancies they have changed their names. It is not matching, and there is a kind of course we should be sympathetic about that, but their complete aloofness.
No, I don't think we should be sympathetic about it at all.
They are victims anyway, for that matter. But their aloofness
but their aloofness has caused this problem. If people had voiced their protest against this many months ago, now the middle class. I mean, I can see all my groups in Bangalore are suddenly talking about SIR and
they were
how
cheering when welfare benefits were denied to people. Now it's come to their passport.
You made a point that despite your case being taken up even by the Editors Guild of India, there has been not even a one-liner from the MEA, from anybody saying that, okay, we are not going to deny passports because of SIR. Are you hoping that that's the first question which people push now, other journalists push now, that any query, there should be an answer now?
Yeah, in fact, I am told that there is a WhatsApp group for External Affairs Ministry beat journalists, and at least 3 journalists have been asking this question from Tuesday onwards. And so far, there has been absolute silence, as far as I know. I don't know, in between when we are speaking today, I don't know, till yesterday evening, I'm told there's complete silence. So obviously, the External Affairs spokesperson, if he is silent, that means he has been told to be silent, I think. Otherwise, his job is, he's paid to speak. No, that is, its designation itself says you're a spokesperson, not a silent person. So since he's not responding, so yeah, a lot of political leaders or also opposition leaders have been calling me. My old single request also, they were asking me, can I help in any way? So I have been saying, yeah, you can help by raising it in Parliament, because executive, the primary responsibility for clearing the air lies with the executive or with the judiciary. But judiciary may feel that it is there again. There are questions of policy overreach and all that they will face. So I don't know what judiciary, whether they will clear or not. So eventually the question is, in Parliament, there should be enough pressure on the government. The government should be persuaded. Whatever happened in the Parliament recent, it's not the signs are not hopeful at all. But that is again the problem. As an individual, what I realized, which a senior journalist actually admonished me for speaking like that, because what I realized that an individual is completely helpless. To which that senior journalist told me, you should have realized it the day you were born, because for centuries, millions of Indians are facing rejection every hour, every waking hour. And you privileged people are now realizing there is something called rejection, which is true. I completely accept that point. But only one thing is very mysterious to me till now is, still also, they actually gave to me in writing, the regional passport office, that adverse police verification had been sent against your report because of deletion from SIR, which I find very surprising, because even when the first initial days when this story was being reported, several media outlets said this. Rajagopal alleged that his name was removed because of, the police claims were denied because of this SIR deletion. Because many people could not believe that because of SIR deletion, your name can be, passport verification can be held up. So there, I think they made a big slip, or I don't, because they actually gave it to me in writing, both in registered post and email, that this is and that was the only reason cited. Had it not happened, so if I had spoken out right now this is happening, I'm sure the government would have completely denied. That is not the reason. They can come up with any kind of reason, because like I said, there could be some spelling inconsistency. For example, my original house name is Krokotugonam. Even I won't be able to, my children won't be able to spell it. It's a tongue twister. Southern Indian house names, old house names can be like that. So had they've not given to me in writing, I'm sure they would have denied it. In fact, 2 days ago, the police, there was some reporters were briefed by police, and they said that the real problem was there is some issue. There is some issue with these are all off the record briefings, I think. There's an issue with my address. So see, it is from the same, in 2005, the passport was issued for the first time from the very same address where I'm speaking to you, right, sitting and speaking in Calcutta. It was renewed again in 2015 on the very same address after police verification twice. And third time when this time, for the second renewal, I'm applying from the very same address. So they did not have any problem till now about that. Then suddenly they are saying there is some issue. So see, this is what I'm saying. They keep moving goalposts, like Shivasundar sir said. There's absolute lack of clarity, and everything is left to discretion. And this is I think either the mistake or some passport seva officer, like you said, like my case became something good came out of it. Maybe the passport office did that to help me, because otherwise I would have been in big trouble, because nobody would have believed me, unless because even now people are when I say that they refuse to believe me. Are you sure? They'll ask, isn't there any reason? Some people ask, because you are an editor, maybe there's some criminal cases that must have been filed against you at the time. So I said I checked all those things. So nothing has been told. This is the single reason that it listed there. So why they wrote this? Maybe or they were so absolutely they have that impunity. What we can get away with anything. That also it's possible.
Just to summarize, what are the things that we have no clarity on? One, who are the relatives basis whom you can trace? Your parents, when they say close relatives, do they just mean your parents and your grandparents? Could you add your spouse, your siblings, and other relatives? That's the confusion number one.
If parents are considered close relatives, why not siblings? And why not your spouse? Spouse, but siblings definitely should be there, because they are part. You are born in the same thing out of. But so that is the first clarity.
That's the first one. The second one, I think, is about what can this affect? If your name is left out of the voters list, can it impact other services, including welfare schemes?
In between, there is also about the logical discrepancy. When they come across logical discrepancy, if it is minor, like my father's name is Ramadas. So Ramadas can be spelled in India. So in Tamil Nadu, it's actually spelled in one way. Kerala, it's in another way. Some other place, some people say Ramdas without a in between. So these kind of minor spelling mistake, how can you remove somebody's voting right? It's one of the most sacred, one of the most precious right. Actually, only precious right we have, I think. We don't have any other right actually as a citizen other than voting right. What right do we have? We don't even have right to breathe pure air. So this is our only right, and if you take away on that itself, there has to be some more clarity. You can't just remove people because of some spelling. One keyboard letter may have got replaced something. How can you remove somebody's name on the basis of that? Especially in a country where people pronunciation is there's no standard spelling.
Yeah. That's the third thing is about what are the acceptable documents. The fourth thing, like you said, each state has its own list of logical discrepancies.
If you think that there are illegal immigrants, where is the study? How many illegal immigrants are there? You might know that on May 26, the government of India has come out with a committee headed by retired Justice Prakash to understand the changes of the demography because of the illegal immigration. Now we are doing study. And that is expected to give the report after 1 year, when the SIS process is completely over. So this is putting the horse before the cart, Second thing, how many did you actually found out through the SIR process? So absolutely, this design is malified, and this is only to harass the people. And of course, they have their own larger designs. There should not be any doubt of their intention and their actually political objective behind it, which is very, very unconstitutional. As you said, Supreme Court has legitimized it. In fact, yesterday, the American Supreme Court actually upheld the birthright citizenship, which showed the spine in spite of Trump being the president. And you contrast that with the Supreme Court that we have here.
That is for what you're going to get case now.
Yeah.
Contempt of
Views
court.
expressed are opinions of the panelists
This
only.
is my own. This is my opinion, and I request the people to
South
take action.
Central
We
does
just
not
have one criminal.
endorse.
We just have one criminal contempt coming up next week.
Actually, you're there since some.
Suo moto taken up by a High Court judge. Therefore, we will talk about
The Supreme Court.
no,
Straight-
High Court.
No, I'm saying in his case.
Yeah. See, spineless Supreme Court has been used in many newspapers already. And I am reminded of one statement made by an English Supreme Court judge when some critic accused him of being a, old fool. Then there was a contempt of court case. Then the judge said, see, there is two parts to this criticism, old and fool. Old is a fact of the matter, I am old. Fool is his opinion. So there is no contempt here.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rajagopal sir and Shivasundar sir. So over the last few months, we had been getting a lot of emails and, pings on Instagram and everything from people in Kerala saying, why don't you do a story on how much private equity firms are investing in Kerala's hospitals? So most of these are big international private equity firms, and there are Indian ones also who are taking over or investing heavily in private hospitals across Kerala. These are big hospitals, medium-sized hospitals. So Jisha Surya, our colleague, studied this very deeply. She went through financial statements of hospitals. She has spoken to several hospital owners on what changes are coming after private equity firms are taking over hospitals. There is, of course, concern that this would be very non-insurance friendly hospitals, or that the cost could go up. As of now, we are not seeing some of these things on the ground yet, but do read Jisha's investigation. It's our top story on the News Minute. Read the story, and of course, we are going to discuss what Jisha found. She's joining us from Tirunelveli. Thank you, Jisha, for joining us on South Central.
Thank you, Dhanya. Pooja.
And joining us is Dr. A Althaf. He's an epidemiologist and a public health physician. I guess, Dr. Althaf, that you have your reservations against PE investments. We'll come to that. But thank you for joining us here on South Central.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, Jisha, so first, just round up what the story is for us, right? What did you find? I know that 20,000 crore rupees is the money which private equity firms are putting in hospitals only in Kerala. But why Kerala? And what else did you find?
Yes, the private health sector was open to private investments in the early 2000s itself. But the investment of private equity firms started coming only in the last few years. And in Kerala, it started in 2023 with the high-profile investment in Trivandrum-based KIMS Healthcare. And ever since that, many leading private hospitals like KIMS, Aster, Baby Memorial Hospitals have all have got majority investments from private equity firms. So what differs the normal private investments from the investment of private equity firms is that these private equity firms have a pattern. We have seen the US giants from private equity giants from the US investing in Kerala. And we have seen Blackstone's, KKR. These are leading firms that have invested in the hospitals in Kerala. And their investments are not just limited to the major hospitals in the cities. They have invested in hospitals in the tier 3 and 4 cities, small hospitals, which are either developed as satellite hospitals of these major hospitals or as single specialty hospitals. So what we have now seen is parallelly, a lot of small and medium hospitals are getting closed down. And while these major hospitals are acquired by private equity firms. So the concern is whether this will affect the Kerala model of healthcare, which we are famous for. Like a lot of health indices, we are proud of, like the lowest child mortality rate, lowest maternal mortality rate, our longevity. All these factors are a result of our investment in our public health system, our literacy, social reforms, arrival of missionaries. A lot of factors have contributed to our good health, good health indices. But now the concern of whether this is going to change.
Dr. Althaf, we come to you first for your thoughts, but also have you seen this model somewhere else, and how do you think this will make hospitals more inaccessible for people?
Yeah, actually, it's a concern for all of us. And this phenomenon, or this is kind of private equity investments in the healthcare sector actually started as a post-globalization phenomenon during late 90s across the globe. And even in US, it has started from 2000 onwards. And the private equity investments peaked during 2006 in US. So their experience, we have to, before discussing anything about this, the impacts of private equity funds in healthcare sector, we should look what are the impacts of private equity investments in US healthcare. So during this period, 2001-2006 period, huge investments were there in the US healthcare. US healthcare is almost $5 trillion volume is there. And During 2009-2019 period. Anyway, a lot of public health activists and experts were worried about these kind of things, and actually, this more in a general perception is that more investments will bring good quality healthcare. That's a general concept across the globe, across the population, and during this issue in US, the Harvard University tried to study the impact of this private equity investments, especially the quality of care. And they have started a study in 2009, and they analyzed this across 2009 to 19 period. Almost 10 plus 16 million patients visits in two kind of hospitals. One, 293 non-private equity invested hospitals and 49 private equity invested hospitals, comparing the quality of care in their emergency room. And the net outcome of this study was almost 13% of mortality is more in private equity funded hospitals. That was a shocking thing. This happened in US actually. The major plus point or the major positive thing about private equity funding is the quality of care, and that myth has been exposed through this study. And the reasons of this kind of the less quality care is the logic behind private equity fund is it is exclusively for profit. So they are not looking after, they are not bothered about, or they have no concern about the healthcare quality or the accessibility or nothing about it. And they will cut down the staff number, the human resources per se, and they will cut they will remove more experienced persons from the system to save salary expenses. Such kind of things made this kind of results. So usually in Kerala also, in India and Kerala also, we do have concerns about these things. So far we don't have any such experience yet, but we should be worried about this thing, and we should closely look into the activities of this kind of private equity funded hospitals. We should see the other thing also. They don't start any new hospital anywhere in Kerala or India. They took over this well-run hospitals through acquisition of major shares. So this should worry. Initially, they will invest more. They will provide more services, more branches, more clinics, more hospitals, more beds, more specialities. All those things they will. That is the modus operandi of private equity funds are acquisition, then value creation, then exit. This is the strategy of this private equity fund operations. In Kerala also, if they invested 20,000 crores right now, they will sell it out. We can speculate that they will sell it out within 5 years for 1 lakh crores. That we can expect normally. So where do they make this kind of profit? Of course, we can argue that some other firms are be interested to invest more, and they will buy it for this much amount. Anyway, ultimately, they have to make profit from the people of this land.
Before I ask the next question, I just want to tell our viewers that we had invited Dr. M I Sahadulla, who is the chairman and managing director of KIMS Healthcare. KIMS Healthcare has got PE investment from Blackstone, but I hope he will join us a little later, or we will try to stitch in 2 questions with him, because he obviously supports private equity investment. Now, while I understand your concerns, Dr. Althaf, I have 2 things to ask you. One is, we are talking about private hospitals, which were anyway working for profit, right? You take any private hospital, already there have been enough allegations that they are jacking up prices, that they work for profit. Now, these private hospitals are getting private equity funding. I don't understand what is the differentiation here between an already for-profit private hospital then taking investment from someone who's perhaps more business-minded.
Of course. 2 things are there. If in our present system, and our national policy is also there. After globalization, anyone can invest anywhere in any sector, anywhere in the world, and they can make profit. And we are not objecting it, because even in Kerala, actually, well-known this Kerala model built by not by exclusively by the public system. Definitely, there is a big chunk of care services provided by the private sector, especially small clinics, missionary hospitals, charity hospitals, and private one-man clinics. All those things that made this the result in early 70s or late 60s. So that was our own history. So I am not against private sector, and I am actually supporting the role of private sector in many aspects in the healthcare sector. But at the same time, like any business, if someone investing in any business, there is a 50-50 chance, or some kind of chance of getting profit or getting loss, and that will happen in healthcare also. There's an equal chance of getting profit by making profit, and getting into loss. That's the chance. But in private equity principle, there is no loss. They will they are moving forward to make profit. That is the concern. That is actually, I'm not against even private equity. They can invest any other sector, but in healthcare, if we are seeking exclusively profit, that will definitely bring to some catastrophic issues in the healthcare sector. If we want more investments in healthcare, we have other options also. We can venture capital funds. That's actually they don't have this kind of risks in private equity funding, and this IPO is another option. Even private partnerships are there. That is, of course, it is going on there.
Yeah, that leads me to my question to Jisha. Like you rightly said, Jisha, Kerala has a robust public health system. There are also, when you say private, there are also others run by trust and charities and all that. So is it something that many people might wonder, something we need to worry? Because there still is accessible healthcare that is run by the government, like I said, with other sectors that are not, corporates or privately owned. So will it not continue? Why should we worry so much if one sector is being controlled by PEs?
We have in Kerala, 60 to 70% of people still depend on private hospitals for their needs. So our dependence on private hospital is such huge that, and we have a lot of hospitals that are accessible and affordable. But as per our IMA studies, a lot of the small and medium hospitals are getting closed down for whatever reason. There are financial struggles or changing norms. They are getting closed down, and it is the same time that these private equity firms are taking over major hospital as well as hospitals in the tier 2 and 3 cities, and they are converting it into single specialty hospitals or whatever, satellite hospitals or whatever. So one side, these hospitals are either getting closed down or finding it really hard to survive, and other side, we are seeing this investments, profit motivated investors investing huge amount in our hospitals. So one difference in when we ask about private hospitals and the private investments in hospitals, we have seen that even the leading private hospitals in Kerala are run by doctors itself. Doctors turns health entrepreneurs. So even in KIMS, it's Sahadulla, who's a doctor. In even Baby Memorial, all other hospitals, Asad Mopan, all these hospitals acquired by PE firms are run by doctors turned health entrepreneurs. So we say, and ultimately we can't really say that they will compromise on medical ethics. Of course, they work for profit, but at least they are doctors. But here, when private equity firms come in, like Dr. Althaf explained well, their only intention is to harvest maximum profit in a very limited time. That's where this concern of profit comes in, and especially when the small and medium hospitals are getting closed down. And when we talk about Kerala's accessible healthcare, we have, while we talk about huge health indices like this all great, our longevity and all, we are also very highly morbid people. 25% of Keralites our morbidity is reported in Kerala's 25% of population. So we have a lot of lifestyle diseases. People are getting died due to preventable diseases. So we are living in this kind of a paradox. So we have to keep these private hospitals active and alive, and our own public sector also, we have to strengthen it to counter this.
Okay, so Jisha's story actually goes through a lot of the private hospitals' financial statements as to how many crores are being pumped in by the private equity takeover. The story's headline, Who Owns Our Hospitals? Private Equity's Growing Grip on Kerala's Healthcare. So do read that story where she has gone into many of these questions. One thing that I thought about while everybody was talking, especially Jisha, was that it's, these news organizations started by journalists, which can't think of too much money because end of the day, we are not entrepreneurs, we are primarily journalists. So the small hospital started by doctors, though, yes, they have to make money. They may have some ethics at some point of time, but when these same news organizations get taken over by large conglomerates or people who have nothing to do with media and journalism, that is when the conflict of interest rises, and the fact that it becomes just another outlet to make profit, right?
I think that answers my question also in part when we say that journalism takes a hit when it is taken over.
Which is what Dr.
It's
Althaf is saying, that
exactly.
you can put money in so many other sectors, but why in health, where already there is so much concern about large inflated bills? Like Jisha was saying, 60 to 70% of Kerala's people do access private healthcare. Dr. Althaf, we'll end this by just asking you that what can the government do at this point of time? Will strengthening public health systems work, or should the government be doing more to also keep a watch on how private equity is panning out?
Of course, I am also a part of the system, and we definitely are concerned about these things. And I think the governments, the previous and the present government, also concerned about these things, and they are focusing more on strengthening the public health system, and especially the secondary and tertiary care system.
Okay, so joining us is also Dr. M I Sahadulla. He's a chairman and managing director of KIMS Healthcare. So, Doctor, thank you for joining us here on South Central. We have been discussing the PE, the private equity takeover of Kerala's hospitals, and Dr. Althaf, who has been telling us that there is concern as to what will happen when private equity takes over hospitals, because profit becomes one of the biggest motives. Do you agree with that?
Private healthcare will always have a profit motive, and we cannot do anything about it, because if it is a private investment, there will be a profit motive, not only in healthcare, anywhere. But when it is in healthcare, what happens is that it touches every individual, and so it is much more sensitive. In other industries, it may not be direct impact, may not be so much for the individuals. And that's why we always talk about the private healthcare and, and the foreign direct investment. If you look at, I always say that this FDI was invited by the government of India. And it is not really someone really wanted to invest. Government of India has approved 100% of the FDI in India in general. The healthcare awareness and the demand is much better in Kerala. And probably that's why Kerala has attracted much more investment than other states. But there are a lot of benefits, and there are a few, drawbacks also. If you look at the kind of growth we had in India, in the economic field, all over, in all the other fields, we should compare that with the healthcare also. For example, this always I say, that's why I'm repeating it. Some of you might have heard it. When I started 25 years ago, the healthcare year, our GDP growth of India was $450 billion. And today, our GDP growth of India is $4.5 trillion. So that much growth has happened, and that will happen. That will reflect in every field. The just a very poor comparison, but pardon me. The saris and the shirts and all that we buy has gone from 200 rupees to 2,000 to 25,000 rupees now. So that's what's happening. So some amount of escalation is definitely bound to happen. But what are the good things really happening because of the foreign investment? One thing is there is a lot of ministers, a lot of VIPs, a lot of affordable people were going out for treatment. And today, you don't have to go out for treatment, and the liver transplant, which will cost $1 million outside, is available at your doorstep in a tier 3 town. Is available for 20 lakhs or 22 lakhs. Definitely, the healthcare facilities have gone up wonderfully well in our state, and it is easily available, and you don't have to wait for MRI, you don't have to wait for CT, whereas in the National Health Service system in the UK, even now you have to wait for it. So then the talent pool has improved quite a bit because of the better hospitals, and the doctors are trained better. Excellent nursing services have come up, and even home care has improved. So there's a lot of improvements has happened. But this all, when happen, there is a cost for all this, and that is why. Otherwise, it should be, and so you may ask naturally, what we can do to make it affordable will be the biggest question we should all ask ourselves. There are a lot of people who cannot afford a quality health care, and we want them to have. It's a fundamental right of every citizen of India to have quality health care. So therefore, we should look at a model by which the private sector and the government sector work together, and how we can really make it possible and feasible for the people. In the public sector, we should also look at another thing. Pooja, I will stop it here, and that a lot of affordable people can come over there and get the care in the government sector. That should be limited. I mean, they should have that care, that kind of care. They can go to the public sector, they can afford and all that. So why are they going and even exploiting the government sector care? That should be left for people who cannot afford.
I take your point of all the positives that can come with it. I agree with some of them. But one concern many people have when return of investment or profit or revenue generation is the language, is the grammar used in hospitals, that it could have a trickle-down effect. Doctors could come with targets, which means that, when you are investing in infrastructure, in machinery that costs crores of rupees, doctors will then be compelled to make sure that even if a patient perhaps does not require certain tests that costs a lot, or treatment that is very expensive, they might push for that instead of trying to make sure that the patient's concern is the first priority. How do you respond?
I will not say that there will not be hospitals who do that. I will not say that. But most of the hospitals will not do that. This is all a kind of a misunderstanding which is going around. See, look at many doctors used to get commission for writing a MRI to a private sector, right? That was a common feature before. And when I started practicing, and we never give commission. We never give any payments at all for any patient to come to doctors or any other agents. And that is an ethical business. How many people practice ethical and how many people practice non-ethical? Like in every other field, you should compare. And so there are a lot of ethical people and non-ethical people. Let us say politics. corruption is rampant. Let us say any other industry, bureaucracy, everywhere, the corruption is there. So ethical and non-ethical is a thin line and is always there. And so that is there in healthcare also, I do agree. But there is no targets ever given. If you ask me, I have about 2,000 beds which I manage, and I have about 7,000 to 8,000 employees. And at the moment, I'm part of a larger group, and about 1,000 doctors are there. And you can ask any person in our hospitals or doctors, and it is a fact that I can also talk about Aster and many other institutions. But there may be a few institutions which may be saying such things.
I would have to little bit disagree on politics, etc., because medicine is also semi-altruistic in one sense as a profession. But I don't want to ponder on that. And also, one of your controversial takes that let the people who cannot afford go to government hospital, let those who afford come to private. That also we'll park aside for now because we've already discussed a lot. I have one question for you, which is, there are many ways in which, for example, your hospital could have brought funds, right? You could have had an IPO, you could have had private funding from India itself, perhaps some partnerships. Why choose PE from a foreign company?
See, for example, myself, I can say my example. I had a couple of private equities. And, when I got to my investors, up to a point, they were shareholders. When I asked them that I didn't have enough resources, so therefore I said that, in an industry or in a business, please understand that either you expand steadily or you perish, because the world is going in that direction. Everybody is expanding and everybody is getting bigger. If you are not part of it, you will perish. That means you will crumble. So therefore, investments are required. The bank investments are not the answer. To some extent, we will go for the bank investment. Equity investment is very much required, and equity investment, nobody will give it. Going for IPO is not an easy. The SEBI regulations of IPO are more stringent than any private equity investment. So we certainly feel that, that is why most of the people are accepting it. Otherwise, do you think anybody will accept it? No. I think people will be very happy to have other investments, and the cost of investment and the return of investment will be much better for the promoters. But private equities, they are looking at opportunities to invest, and they will make a profit out of it. There's no doubt about it. And in any business, profit should not be taken as a bad word. But along with that, corporate social responsibility and helping the normal public who are not affordable. And the government should come into this and partnership. And what are the improvements the private care has made in Kerala? Even today, 70% of the private care, 70% of the care is provided by the private care, the private hospitals in Kerala. At least 65%. In India, in general, if you take it, is 70%. And 65% of the people like us or like you pay from your pocket because the insurance is not being promoted very well. And so we have got, we spend money for buying good clothes and going to the best hotels and buying the best food. But we do not want to spend for healthcare, and we should all get insured. So the basic change in healthcare has to happen to improve the affordability. So government care, yes, from public-private participation, the subsidized schemes government has introduced, like PMJY, the Aishman Bharat, ESIC, and ECSC. All these things, the payments are delayed for more than a year or two. And so all the hospitals suffer. So if these are improved, you look at the healthcare spending, the GDP, only 1.7 or 1.8%, under 2% is spent by the government of India for healthcare. And everything, state government put together, it becomes maximum 2%. In the UK, it is 14%, 12% of the GDP is spent for healthcare. 14 or 15% is spent in the United States. So please understand that our healthcare spending is also less. So there are a lot of things which we can do together to improve the situation, and only focusing on one area which we do not like is not the right way.
Yes, Doctor, thank you very much for all your insights. So a lot to think about. Is P good thing, bad thing, profit keyword or not? Right? Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, so thank you for that. Thank you, Dr. Althaf, and thank you, Jisha. Let's keep a watch on how this whole thing will pan out in the next few years, because it's now 7 or 8 hospitals. I'm sure it's going to grow even more in the next few years. As we wrap up the show, you have to give recommendations of a book or or a series or something that you watch for our audience.
No, I will recommend everybody should read Reporters Collective and see News Minute. That's my recommendation.
Very good. Good recommendation.
Don't read daily newspapers.
Okay. Can I suggest a book which I have not yet read? Because I've just gave order to this book, Careless People by Sarah Williams, because I just wanted to know why Meta is trying to silence her. She's a former Meta executive, and she has written this book, Careless People. So I just gave an order to that book. And otherwise, my all-time favorite is Wild by Cheryl Strayed.
Yeah, I can say a book, if any of you can read. It is very interesting, and it will give some of the answers which we discussed also. This is called The Lost Art of Healing. The Lost Art of Healing by Bernard Lawn. Bernard Lawn is a Nobel laureate. And he has written this book, and he's a doctor. He was a doctor in Harvard. And it is very interesting to see that, if you read it, you will really enjoy it. And you don't have to be a doctor and everything.
First and foremost, Rajagopal's letter. That everyone should read. One thing. Second thing is I would recommend Poonam Agarwal's India Inked, which is, of course, post-electoral bond and pre-SIR book, but it will completely explain how already degeneration had set in. I would also recommend Origin of Totalitarianism, that is by Hannah Arendt, where she says it is right of getting rights. Citizenship is right of getting rights. That's very important. Okay, I will end.
And you saw that he was faster in recommending. I have one book only that I could read for Let Me Explain last week, A.G. Nurani's RSS, A Menace to India. It opens your eyes up. Now that it's been mainstreamed so much, what it was, I'd recommend that. And also watch the episode of Let Me Explain. That one.
I don't have any specific recommendation this week. It's been like a terrible week. One of my cats has a chronic kidney disease. Yeah, so I've been taking him to hospital, coming back, etc. Now, my recommendation is to please read all of Scroll, News Laundry, I think Reporters Collective and the Wire's work on SIR. They've put together some really stellar work from Bihar, West Bengal, etc. That's very important to understand because, when we float these numbers saying 27 lakh people, 90 lakh people, these are people who have been disenfranchised and they will bear the brunt of it in some way or the other. And we must all understand how it's been happening, not because it could happen to us, because it has happened to someone else. That should also matter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's it for the week.
That is for the week. And thank you to Rajagopal sir, Shivasundar, all the other guests. Thank you to our
Rajagopal ji.
Yeah. Thank you to our producers, Megha Mugundan. And we have a new producer from this week, Akshay Lal, who's just joined the News Minute because Bhuvan quit and went. So let's see how Akshay does his work. And Akshay has to also remind me to read letters. Write to us at southcentral@thenewsminute.com. Thanks to our production assistant, Ajay, Sukanya, and Ria, who do all our socials. Keep listening. Tune into South Central and press the like button.